what we have today, just so we're talking about ice available to Omaha. We have Moto McLean, which is a city rink. Carrie is in charge of Moto, and it's one sheet of ice that's available year-round. Moylan Iceplex at Tranquility. It is city property. It was privately built, so it's managed by a third-party contractor on city property. They have a long-term lease. It has 2 sheets of ice, and it's open year-round. We hear that UNO is planning an on-campus rink in the future for potential student use. And then currently there are 2 exterior rinks. ConAgra has one open downtown, and then UNMC has one, but those are just open for a short season in the winter. We hear that, we know that Ralston Mayor and City Council have approved a $25 million bond to build 2 sheets of year-round ice, one for professional and one for open skate. The public vote on that will be March 2011, and they would anticipate that rink would open in 2012. We believe that if built, that rink will substantially saturate the ice market in Omaha. Cost estimate for Benson. Okay, so we looked at a lot of options. Just bear with me as we go through these. First off, the roof has to be fixed at Benson, and the HVAC, the mechanical equipment, failed. It had been being put together, and it also was one of those things that had to be improved, and every year it was maintained, but this year it was not able to be brought back up. So we'd have to replace the HVAC and the roof at the same time. That's $292,000. Now these are estimates, but these were done by a consultant, so we feel pretty comfortable with these numbers. If we put money into Benson on the roof and the HVAC, it kind of triggers the Americans with Disabilities Act, and because it's a city rink, we would have to make it accessible. So the ADA accommodations are about $651,000. So to open Benson would take about just less than $1 million at $942,000. Now, and that's some of the drawings that are shown there. Now, the floor itself, every time we turn on Benson ice, the floor so far we've been able to bring it up. Someday, and before 2020, that floor will have to be replaced with an indirect system. And that will cost about $736,000. So the total, if you're looking at opening Benson and replacing the floor, is $1.678 million, or $1.7 million, just to round up. So then we've looked at other options, and one of the options was, okay, if you're going to spend $1.7 million, how much would you have to spend to make it regulation? And then it would be available for league use. Well, what you have to do is you have to add to the end of the building. And if you do that, if you add to the end of the building on the left, you also would likely want to add locker rooms down at the bottom. And then you make so when you do that and you add on to the $1.7 million, it takes another $2.4 million to add on to Benson, so that makes it about $4.1 million to make Benson into a regulation and semi-state-of-the-art skating facility. Okay, so if you're going to spend $4 million on Benson, what are the other options that we want? We want to look at all the options around the city. If you look at Moto McLean also needs some renovation work. ADA, it's got some humidity problems, it's got some exterior problems, it's got interior. So if you did some renovations at Moto McLean to bring it up to a level, that's about $777,000. So if you add a sheet of ice, that's another $5.7 million to add a sheet of ice, more restrooms, maybe some party rooms, some more locker rooms. So the total on that's about $6.5 million. So to add a second sheet of ice, we're just looking at options, it's about $6.5 million if you then also renovate the rest of Moto. So if you were going to add ice, where else might you add ice? We looked at a lot of different places. If you add ice out west in Elkhorn, we were looking at just a sheet of ice out there onto the existing common ground building. It would also be about $6.5 million. So I think that $6.5 million is basically the cost of adding a second sheet of ice onto pretty much any facility. that we would have. So that was pretty interesting. What's on winter use? What would it cost to build an outdoor rink? So an outdoor rink about this size, which would have your concessions and your restrooms and your ticket office and that kind of thing, would be about 2.1 million, and if you cover it, the total is about 3.6 million. Okay? So then...
Is that, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
is that the type of rink that they have out at Mahoney State Park?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I don't know how much theirs cost.
Right.
But we did look at something similar, and they have covered theirs. I believe they've covered theirs.
Covered, but the sides are open.
Yeah, that's what this would be.
Okay.
3.6 is about. And as you see, ice is kind of expensive to build. Okay, so then we